Okay, everybody, it is Coach James, and it is time to show you how to set up your 2022 numbers analyzer, all right? So I wanted to record this video because I know for many of you, this may be your first time using the numbers analyzer if you just recently started working with me. And even for those of you that have been working with for a long time, you may not have been using your analyzer. So we are going to focus on that this year in 2022. So I want to make sure that you guys know exactly how to set this up. All right. So pretty straightforward. Upper left-hand corner, you can see here there is a block for your name. All right, so I don't think I need to instruct you how to fill that block in. You should be capable of that. So put your name in the upper left-hand corner. And by the way, you can use this analyzer in one of two ways. It is obviously an Excel document. So you can keep it as an Excel document and just change the file name. So when you save it, just add your name to the end of the file name so that when you send it to me, I can put it into your folder and I know whose is whose. All right. You can also import it into Google Docs and convert it into a Google Sheet and then share that with me so that as you update it in real time, I get those updates. And all you got to do is message me and say, hey, go check out my updated analyzer. All right. It's up to you. So one other thing too, you're only filling in the white cells. Okay. So anything that is red or gray, these are locked cells. So you can't put anything in them. All right. They will automatically fill in and calculate as you put data into this. All right. So upper left corner, your name right here, income goal. This would be your GCI goal for 2022. Okay. So whatever that number is, put it there. Transaction goal, same thing. If your goal is 20 deals, put 20. If it's 50 deals, put 50. If it's 150, put 150. And you also will put that same number over here in N as in November 5. Okay. So this column, column B, is the main column we are focusing on. All right. So for example, and remember, this is a 1-year analyzer. So these numbers that we're about to put in here, these production goals are for the full year. They are not weekly goals or daily goals. So days prospected. My recommendation is that you're going to put a number somewhere between 200 and 250. Okay, because that's the number of days that I'm sure you'll be aiming to prospect. Okay, if you figure there's about 20 working days in an average month, 20 times 12 will be 240. There are going to be vacations I'm sure that you're going to take. There's going to be days that you will be sick or have something come up. So put a number in there that you feel makes sense, but that is your daily your yearly prospecting goal. So I'm going to go ahead and put 240 in here. Okay, hours prospected. Again, this is a yearly goal. All right. So for example, if your goal is to prospect 3 hours a day, then you are going to take 240 times 3 and you're going to get 720. So in this box, you're going to put 720. Okay. Now, contacts. Notice I say two-way conversation. So this includes text conversations. It includes conversations in Messenger or Instagram or any other way that you're communicating. In addition, of course, to phone calls and door knocks. All right. So your daily, again, your yearly contact goal. Okay. So I would say that if you're expecting to talk to about 8 people per hour, you would take 720 times 8, and you would come up with 5,760. That would be your conversation goal for 2022. Let's say that you're only going to expect 6 contacts per hour. So we take the 720 times 6, we come up with 4,320. So I'm going to go ahead and use that number, 4,320. Okay. Again, that's the goal. Doesn't mean you're going to hit it. We hope you hit it. We hope you exceed it. But that's the goal. Okay, listing appointment set. This is one, especially for those of you that may not have been strong listing agents up to this point. You need to know a little bit about your ratio, meaning how many conversations does it take you to set an appointment? Depending on what you're doing, that number is going to be different. Okay, so several years ago, when we had a lot of expireds and we had many for sale by owners, the ratio could be pretty low. It might be 1 out of every 30 people you speak to, you set an appointment, maybe 1 out of every 20. But now we are mixing in a lot more colder conversations. We're mixing in a lot of conversations with people who have come to us from Zillow or Realtor.com or pay-per-click or Facebook ads. So these are colder conversations, guys. So I'm not going to tell you what to put in there. You and we can talk about this on our coaching calls if you have questions about it. But I'm just going to assume, to be safe, to be very conservative, I'm going to assume 1 out of every 75 conversations, could turn into an appointment. So obviously we take the 4,320 and we divide that by 75, and that gives us 57.6. I'm just going to round up to 58. Okay, so that means we have a goal to set 1 appointment for every 75 people. Now, listing appointments attended, row 14. You're not going to go on every appointment that you set. People are going to cancel. You're going to talk to them and pre-qualify them and ask them, hey, I'm just curious, when I see you on Friday, how much did you want to list your home for? And they're going to say, well, we feel like it's worth, and we'd like to get 300,000. Okay. So you may or may not know if 300,000 is right on the money or not when you're first speaking to them and setting the appointment. So now you go and you prepare for the appointment, you do your CMA and your comps, and you realize, you know what, man, even in this incredible market, even on a great day, this home is probably only going to get 260,000. All right. So you may decide to cancel them if they are not going to be realistic. Okay. It's fine to go on appointments where they're a little bit over. All right. But in this case, they're almost, it's like 20% over. All right. But point being, let's assume that you go on 50 of the 58 throughout the year. Listings taken, again, you kind of have to have some idea of what your hit ratio is. All right. So if you're taking 1 out of every 2 listings on average, 50%, you would put 25 in there. If you're taking closer to 70%, that's going to be 35. So let's just go with that. Let's say 35 listings taken. Expired and canceled. All right. These are places to record when you have a listing expire or a listing cancel. Obviously, that doesn't happen very often, but over here in the calendar section, which we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, it just gives you a place to record it in a particular week that you might actually have an expired listing or a canceled listing. So you don't have to put a number in there, by the way. You can leave that blank. You can put a 0. You don't have to calculate that. Okay, listings under contract or open escrows. Simple. How many of the 35 do you expect to sell or want to sell or need to sell? In this market, we're probably going to sell most of them, if not all of them. You may have a couple of listings that you list in late November, early December of 2022, and they don't actually go under contract in 2022. So just for, again, conservative sake, let's say 30 of the 35 sell in 2022. Okay. Buyers, same thing. I don't know. For some of you, you have a goal to do kind of 50-50 buyers and sellers. Some of you want nothing to do with buyers. Some of you almost exclusively work buyers. So this number is up to you. I'm just going to throw in 10, just for argument's sake. Some of you do rentals. Some of you do not do rentals. If you don't worry about it. You don't have to fill it in. Closed deals in this case would be 40. Okay. Because we have here 30 listings sold, 10 buyer sales for a total of 40. So again, we would want to make sure that these numbers matched up here and over here. We would put 40. Let's say that your average commission is $8,000. That means GCI, paid income after split, would be $320,000, which you also want to make sure is up here in that number up there, that's cell up there. Okay, so pretty straightforward, guys. This is all you have to do. Now, when we get into January, you are going to track your numbers and you're going to pay attention to all of these categories. So you need to have a way to do that. So let's say, for example, that you prospect the first day or first week of January and you prospect 5 days. Okay, let's say you prospect an average of 2 hours a day for a total of 10 hours. Let's say that you have 72 conversations in the course of this first week. Let's say you set 3 appointments because you're talking to some hot leads or some hot for sale by owners or whatever. Let's say that you actually go on 1 of the 3 in that week and that you take that listing. You don't have any expire, you don't have any cancel, you don't have any go under contract, buyer or seller. But let's say you close out a deal that you had carried over from 2021. So we're going to put 1 here. So you close an escrow or close out a deal. And let's say you get paid $8,000 for that. Oops, that's 80,000. That would be nice. So the only thing left to do to cause this thing to populate now is you need to go right here. This is important. All right. This white box right here where it says number of weeks data is entered. This is just what it says. It's how many weeks over here do you have filled in? In this case, we have 1. So I'm going to now put a 1 here. And as soon as I move that over, let's see here. This should be populating. So I'm not sure why it's not, as a matter of fact, but it will populate. I just need to, I probably need to put a little bit more data in here. But the point is that is 1 week's worth of numbers. Okay, so actually what I'll do is let me save it. I think there it goes. I had to save it first. Now you notice that it just calculated, it just filled in all of these boxes. So what this is now saying is, if we scroll right to the top, it's saying that you should be at 4.6 days prospected. You're actually at 5, so you're ahead of the game. Your actual weekly average is closer to 6 days a week. You're on track to prospect 283 days instead of the 240, assuming that you kept up this pace. But you notice all these fields fill in, okay, for you as you move through. So if, let's say, you go to the next week, and let's say you have a little bit of an off week, you only prospect 3 days. Let's say you only prospect for 8 hours, not 87, but 8. Let's say you speak to 51 people. Let's say you set 1 more appointment. Let's say you go on 1 appointment, and let's say you take that listing as well. And now, as we're not going to have anything else closed in this example, but we are going to change this now to a 2, okay? Because you now have 2 weeks of data, okay? And again, as soon as you save it, you notice everything calculates again based on 2 weeks. Okay, notice you're on track for drop from 280 something in the first week now down to 226 because you only prospected 3 days this week. Okay, so this is your numbers analyzer. All right, very simple, very straightforward. If you have questions, obviously you can contact me or talk about it on our coaching sessions. But this is a tool that is super important to you being able to stay on track in 2022. The numbers tell a story. Okay, that is very important you remember this. The numbers tell a story. The question is, are you tracking your numbers, and do you understand the story that they're trying to tell you, which is exactly what we are going to be talking about in our coaching sessions. All right, everybody. So any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will look forward to an incredible 2022 working with you.